All right, guys, so today we have a budget build CPU mining rig. So we got a B550M HDV. It's a little entry-level board. We're rocking a Ryzen 7 3800X. These were about $250 on eBay, give or take. That comes with a cooler, and we're also using 3200 megahertz DDR4. I'm only using one 8 gig stick. You don't lose much performance going from single channel to dual. And then a cheap 600 watt EVGA that was on sale at Best Buy. So I'm going to throw this bad boy together real quick. And building a CPU mining rig is actually super simple. All you need is essentially is a motherboard, a processor, a cooler, and then RAM, and then whatever you actually want to run your device on. So I'm going to be using Hive OS to run my miner, and I'm going to be doing that on a cheap little 120 gig M.2 SSD drive that will actually mount right on the motherboard, and it cuts down on a lot of clutter. So you don't have to actually have like a drive hanging off the side, and you get a lot better speeds, like for restarting, updating, that kind of thing, over a USB, and also longevity, because those little M.2 drives last quite a bit longer, and they're rated quite a bit longer than your average USB flash drive. So just trying to remember some rough prices here. I want to say this motherboard was about 50 or 60 bucks online. Basically any 550, or if you get a 450 chipset that's been flashed. I don't know if all 450s are ready to go for like 5000 series. They have to be flashed, but there's nothing special about this motherboard at all. And then realistically, I'd recommend any major name brand. So you're talking about EVGA, Corsair, Thermaltake, any power supply is going to do. I do like to buy 80 plus rated, but they don't have to be gold, platinum, anything like that. It can be a bronze, because you're not going to be burning a ton of power through this bad boy. I'm putting it down here below where all my CPU miners are. And I've actually started gaining quite a few of them. And it's funny because you can build an entire setup like this for less than a GPU nowadays. So I think all in all, I got 250 in the CPU, 30 in my power supply. I bought 2 sticks of RAM for 50, but I'm only using one, so we'll call it like 25 bucks. Then a motherboard for about 60. So and my M.2 drive, that was another 20 there. So I'm sub 500 bucks, and that's a pretty realistic price. That's not some like holy grail. I got super lucky. I did know the price of CPUs has been going up, but I think it's going to be curbing back because price of Raptoreum's going down, difficulty's going up. It's not nearly as profitable as it was. So I think the little bit of the flair and that popularity is going to die down. So prices should normalize. And there's just a lot more availability of CPUs out there than there are GPUs at the moment. So let me get this plugged in. And I'm not doing anything special here, just plugging her into power, and then I'm going to plug it into Ethernet just to try to get the best connection possible. I have a switch, so might as well go ahead and use it. And there we are. We're running on Hive. It's been running for a little while. It's mining, and this algorithm does fluctuate up and down a lot. The real way to actually see what it's doing is you need to look at average hash rate, but I have 127 minutes remaining. So I figured I would open up a calculator and show you guys some profitability here in a second, because when you first fire this up, it's got to do a tune. You can run it without a tune, but you need to let it auto-tune because it runs significantly better with an auto-tune. So for the first 2 hours, it won't report any shares to the pool. It's only going to be tuning. Then after that, it'll start reporting shares to the pool. So here we are on mineraptorium.com. We have one 3700X entered in. And going down to the profitability, it says it does an average of 2,000 hashes or 2 kilohash. That means we could estimated make 22 Raptoreum a day. Comes out to 97 cents, right below $1. And then if we're burning 125 watts at 12 kilowatts, or 12 cents per kilowatt, that means we're profiting roughly about 60 cents a day, give or take, at the current difficulty and current price of Raptoreum. So let me bust open a calculator here, and I'll enter in our rough pricing. So we got 60 bucks for a motherboard, $40, we'll call that RAM. We'll shoot that a little high. You got 30 for a power supply and 250 for our CPU. So I have about $380 into it. Before power, that would take about 380 days, obviously, if I sold at that limit. But after power, paying for it with the actual profit, we're looking at an ROI of 622 days. So not so great, but I'm not planning on selling my Raptoreum right now. I'm actually mining to hold. I'm looking for a higher evaluation, and that may bite me. Raptoreum may never go back up, but you got to risk it for the biscuit every now and then. So this doesn't take a lot of power. I have a couple more rigs of these running, so I'm not running all 3800Xs. If you can get them for the right price, the 3900X does significantly more. They do about 3.5 kilohash, but I've noticed the price on those has more than doubled, so no need to pay, $500 or $499 for a 39 or a 5900X when you could get potentially two 3800Xs for the same price and be doing maybe four and some change. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.